morning everyone, and welcome back to a new vlog. I just washed my hair, so yeah, I'm just gonna curl it, and I thought we could have a little catch up on what's been happening. I didn't pick up the camera for a few days just because, hold on, I need to section this. Also, I guess if you've ever wanted a how I do my hair tutorial, maybe we can do that as well, because my hair strategy is I wash it every 3 to 4 days, and then I just curl it, and then it just lives its best life. And I just feel like it's like a high maintenance way of being low maintenance. It means I don't really have to do my hair every single day. I mean, I guess we can get into like my full routine after I wash it. So to wash it, one sec. So these are the shampoo and conditioner I have been using for literally years, since I was platinum blonde like 3 years ago. I've just found that these are the best. I mean, my hair isn't like bleached anymore, but yeah, they're like a bond repair shampoo and conditioner. They're the Redken Acidic Bonding Concentrate range. And they're just my ride or die. Like, I have fine hair, but I have like a lot of it, and I just find when I find a shampoo that works, I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with it until, I don't know, sometimes I think your hair gets kind of used to things, but I've been using that same duo for probably, gosh, 3 years now, and my hair seems to really like it. So I think, like, also because I do heat style it, even though I only do it twice a week, I think like something that's like a bond repair is probably good for keeping my hair healthy. This is the longest my hair has been in a very long time. I almost think it's getting, dare I say, like too long, just because there's some foundation on my pajamas, just because I'm finding it's taking forever to style, and I'm not about that life. So I'm thinking of cutting it like that much. I don't know. Last time I was at a hairdresser, which was like a few months ago, I was like, oh, do I just trim it a little bit, or should I just go for a bigger chop and like it'll grow? And I was scared. So I was like, I've spent so long growing my hair. It just feels like I've been trying to get it long for ages. And then I was like, am I really just gonna chop it? Because I actually really liked when it was sort of like mid-length, like kind of that length. I found it was just really easy to manage and really easy to take care of. And yeah. So decisions. This is always what it's like being a girl, isn't it? Like, you're like, I want long hair, and then your hair's long, you're like, I want short hair, and then you cut it, and then you're like, I'm never doing this again. And it just goes round and round and round until you die. So yeah, that's the shampoo and conditioner I've been using. After that, I use the Redken Acidic Bonding Concentrate Leave-In Treatment, and this is like it's kind of like a leave-in conditioner sort of thing. You just put it on while your hair is still damp, run it all the way through, and then next, the Color Wow Raise the Root Thickening and Lifting Spray. I put this just like in the roots of my hair. This is heat activated, so you do have to blow dry your hair if you're going to use this, but you can also put it on dry hair too. And it just kind of helps sort of like thicken up your roots if you also find that you have like fine hair or flat hair, or just you want more volume. Like, this is going to do it for you. And then last but not least, the Bumble and Bumble Invisible Oil. I just spray this pretty much from like ear down, because if you have fine hair, you don't want to be putting any kind of hair oil or anything on your roots. And I also don't put conditioner on my roots either, because that's going to weigh it down, and that is not the vibe. And then in between washes, this is the dry shampoo I've been using. I use this one or the Living Proof one. Or I tried a sample of this, and I actually really like it. This is from Way, and the smell is amazing. It's kind of like very green and fresh, and I don't find like it's overpowering. I find some like perfumed dry shampoos, it can almost be a little too much with the perfume, and I'm like very sensitive to fragrances. Like, some fragrances just really give me a headache, other ones it's fine. I don't know. This doesn't give me a headache. I might buy a full-size bottle, but this is just like a really handy size too. Like, if you ever want to like throw it in your bag or just carry it around with you after the gym, whatever. Yeah, this is a good option too. And then I guess we can do my hair, and then I can show you what I do to set it. So to curl it, I've been using this GHD. I don't know how big the barrel is. Maybe it's like 1.5 inches thick. I've been using this thing for literally years. GHD is an investment, but it is worth it for a reason. Their products are just the best. And so what I do to curl it, I section down the middle, section like the bottom and the top. I start from the back. I take my tongue and I curl from the top down. So I'll wrap my hair around like this, being really careful, don't burn your fingers. I'll leave it like that for, I don't know, maybe like 10 to 15 seconds. I usually have a podcast or something on while I'm doing this. And then you just drop it down into your hand, and you don't want to drop the curl because then it's gonna like set looser. I always want them to set tighter, and then like the first day I do my hair, it's like a stronger curl, and as the days go on, obviously it gets looser and looser and looser, and kind of more looks like kind of fancy blow dry vibes, which I like. But I always try and get it to be like, not ringlets the first day, but I want it to be a more like set style, because then that's gonna give it the longevity for like 3, I could probably sometimes even go 4 days. It's just like the ends look okay, it's just the roots start to get greasy. So yeah, I'll let that dry, and then I sort of rest it on my shoulders so that it can continue setting into place. And then we just go in with the next one, and yeah, you want to try and, if I really wanted to be pedantic about it, I could use like pins and pin it up into the ringlet form, which I probably wouldn't do for day to day, but say I was gonna go to like an event or something and I really wanted my hair to hold, especially if it's like hot like it is sometimes here in the summer and it's humid and you really just want your hair to stay, I would probably set it like that, and then that way it would set and cool down in there so it'll last a little bit longer. If you need tips on how to get hair to last in like a hot climate, I am your girl. So yeah. And with the sections I take in my hair, you don't want them to be too thick, because I would say maybe like inch and a half sections of hair, depending on your hair density too, that's gonna, and like your hair texture, that's gonna change things too. But you wanna make sure that like that, the heat is penetrating through all the hair that you're curling, because that's what's gonna really help your style last. And yeah. So we're just gonna go all the way around, and you can sort of see the size of the sections that I'm taking. And I wrap away from my face as well, and you want to do them all the same direction. You could do them alternating directions, but I just find this is what gives the look that I prefer. And yeah, I mean, you can curl towards your face, but then that kind of starts to look like doll ringlets, which are like not really the vibe that I am going for. So yeah, I thought while I'm doing this, it's pretty much rinse and repeat all the way around, so I thought we could maybe have a little catch up. So I went to my second conference last week, which was at, oh, my battery's flashing. One sec. I went to my second conference, which was the Brisbane Mental Health Research Conference, and I guess that was my first conference outside of my university, which was exciting. And yeah, I got to go see like QUT, which had a really beautiful campus, and that was like my supervisor's old university, so that kind of felt like a fun full circle moment. And then I got to meet my supervisor's supervisor when he did his PhD, so that also was like a full circle moment. So that was fun, and I think it was a really good experience. I was just presenting on the same research, which was like the risk environment for non-medical insulin use for people who use image and performance enhancing drugs. And I felt better the second time around because I was just using the same slides and I'd already gotten to practice it, and I sort of had gotten the feeling of like what it's like to be in front of a room of a bunch of people. And yeah, I think it was a really good second experience. The whole thing went by quite smoothly, and I think it's one of those things that I'm like, hopefully I'm just gonna get better and better at this, because yeah, the first time I was definitely very nervous, and then the second time I felt nervous, but I was like, look, you did this before and you didn't die, it was okay. So yeah, I think that's the thing about like building confidence, isn't it? Like everyone just thinks that like, oh, like I want to be confident, but you don't realize that like confidence comes from practicing a skill. Like most of the time people are not confident at things the first time they do it. Everyone has a first time for doing things, and I think you can either see that as like daunting or you can use it as inspiration, because there was like a wide range of academics there. There was like people who had been doing it for years, and then there was a lot of like early career researchers or like PhD students, and even some like honors students as well. And I think that's the thing, is realizing when you see someone up there and they like obviously just know how to command the stage, they know how to present really clearly, like they just are able to do it without looking at their slides or whatever. And you realize that like that person at one point, they were doing this for the first time too, or they were doing this for the second time too, and I'm sure they definitely weren't as practiced and polished and perfect at doing it the first time as you're seeing them now. So it's just remembering like you have to be bad in order to be good, and you can't let the fear of being bad at something stop you from doing it, otherwise you're never going to be good at it. And yeah, that's what I just keep telling myself. Like, you just have to get in there and do it, essentially. There is no way around. And that's the thing I think people really, in this day and age, we really seem to struggle with that concept. Obviously, I don't know what it was like for people before, but it's like people really don't want to be bad at things because of what they think that means about them, or they don't want to fail, or they don't want to make mistakes. But I just think it's kind of like, not like you should be trying to do a bad job. Like, I think you should always try and do the best you can with the ability and skill set you have at the time. But I also think that, yeah, I just think it's like, you know what, go and give it your best shot, and like praise yourself for the effort, not for the outcome. And like take notice of like what worked well and what didn't work well, and like use that for next time. So yeah, it's just really having like that growth mindset. Okay, side number 1 is done. I try and leave that like bunched up on my shoulder as much as possible so the curls don't like drag out. And then now we're gonna go and do the other side as well, sectioning it the same way as before and sticking it on top of your head. So yeah, I think it was a good second experience, and that's my conferences done for the next little while, I think. And then remember, when you're going this way, you want to go away from your face, which is going to be opposite direction of where you were just doing it. So yeah, remember that. And I think that's my conferences done for the next little while. I don't have any on the books. Also, I have to do my PhD confirmation, which is basically when you do like a presentation and you write like a 40-page document being like, this is what I'm going to do. And then the next thing you do is, I think it's a few years in, where you do another presentation, you're like, this is what I am doing. And then after you write your thesis and you're like, this is what I did. So yeah, right now I'm at the stage of I'm telling them what I'm going to do. So that presentation is coming up in October, and I'm just kind of putting my effort and energy into getting that all together. And once I do that, then I can actually start doing things with the data. Some of my data is already collected, which is great because I don't have to wait for ethical approval, which is amazing because that can really slow you down, and obviously you want ethical approval to do your experiments. So yeah, that is where we are at with that. This is not doing what I want. There we go. And yeah, I guess it's like that's kind of the goal for the end of the year. And then after that, confirmation happens in October, and then gosh, this year has just really flown by. Like, I feel like it was yesterday that it was January, and I was being like, what am I gonna do with my life this year? Am I doing a PhD? Am I moving back to Canada? What am I doing? Had no idea. But here we are, and we're almost 1 year in, and yeah, the time really just does fly. It's crazy. I finished The Gilded Age, which I was really sad about. It was such a good show and I really liked it, and this might be hard to believe, but I've never watched Downton Abbey, which is crazy to me now because I'm like, why on earth haven't you watched it? Like, this is exactly up your street. It's everything you like. It's like set in England and it's historical, and yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. But anyways, there's at least lots of it for me to get into, and I'm not gonna have to wait for like new episodes or new seasons or anything, which makes me very excited. But it's funny going from watching The Gilded Age, which I think is set in the end of the 1800s, if I'm correct, and going to watching Downton Abbey, which is set in the beginning of the 1900s, and I'm like watching it and being like, oh my god, so modern. Like, they have electricity and the fashions are, no one's wearing a bustle anymore. I'm like, wow, this is so modern. And then I like stopped to think about it and I was like, this was almost 130 years ago, and here's you being like, wow, so modern. But yeah, oops, I forgot this little section here, so yeah, it's been good. I like it. I like it so far. The thing I realized is like after the conference thing is so fun, but my social battery just plummets after being one, like presenting, which like gets all your adrenaline going, and then two, like talking to people and like networking and all this stuff. It's like just a lot of being around a lot of people, and I am an introvert at heart. So it's like I need a day to recover, or a few days of just being by myself, which is what I'm trying to do this weekend. Yesterday I had like a big, like cleaned the house, planted some new plants. Oh, I think I'll put that footage in later in this video. I planted some new plants. The seedlings that I've planted are starting to sprout and germinate, so things are picking up in the garden, which is very exciting. We're almost onto the last section here, and yeah, so the garden's coming together, my PhD is coming together, it's all coming together slowly but surely. And this is the first year I'm trying to grow vegetables from seed and herbs. I've never done that before. The first thing I ever grew from a seed was some cosmos, and that really started this whole gardening passion, adventure journey that we've been on. And so yeah, the tomatoes are sprouting, the radishes are sprouting, nothing is happening with the carrots yet, but I am hopeful, and nothing's happening with the strawberries either, but maybe they take longer. And yeah, it's all happening in the garden. And speaking of full circle moments, I actually ordered some more cosmos seeds, but this time I ordered like a dwarf variety because I want to grow them in a pot, and cosmos can grow quite tall depending what the variety is, but if you get a dwarf variety, they can be more suited to growing in a pot and being like 30 centimeters tall, something like that. So yeah, I am going to give that a shot because of the way the balcony bed faces, it can get quite windy in there. So that's why I was a little bit, don't want to put super tall, long, delicately stemmed flowers in a bed that can get like quite a lot of wind. So I'm going to put them in pots, and I've ordered some new really cute looking sort of like vintagey terracotta pots as well, which I think could be cute to put them in, or I might put the tomatoes in there. Not totally decided yet. But with the seeds, I was on the internet asking ChatGPT, like, how do I know when the seedlings are ready to go outside? So they said first you want to basically take them on little field trips outside once their first set of true leaves develop. So right now they have, I can't remember the name of it, like the first set of leaves that comes out is not the first set of true leaves. Like the leaves that you want are, I guess they're ones that actually look like the leaf of the plant. Right now they're just little tiny sprout things. So they said once that happens, then you can start taking them for outings each day to kind of get them used to the UV, get them used to the temperature, the wind. So you're basically hardening them off. And you want to be doing that in like early morning light, not super strong, intense late afternoon light. So yeah, I think we need to wait a little while before we get to that point, and we can do that together. That probably won't be in this vlog, it might be in the next one because we need to wait for them to grow. But I'm on the last curl, and there we go. So turn off the curling iron. It looks crazy right now, I know. But next we are going to, what is this called? It's from L'Oreal, and this is the Savage, well, do you say it in French? Sauvage Panache? Savage? I don't know. I'm just going to show you the label and then you can read that. But it's like a powder texturizing spray. So you don't want to use this like you would use a hairspray. Like, less is more when it comes to this. It gives your hair like that, a bit of texture so that your curls hold. Because I find that if your curls are like, if you've just got freshly washed hair, really clean hair sometimes doesn't hold as well. And then I've been using this hairspray for literally like decades at this point, but it's a really good one and I go crazy with this one. And now I'm gonna leave this to set while I go do other things. And I like to leave this in for as long as I can. Like, I mean, if you've only got like 10 or 15 minutes, that's fine. But the longer you can leave it, the more it like helps your hair to set and the curls to set. You want them to cool down. You don't want to be brushing them out before they've cooled down. So I just leave it like this, go around, do some other things, and then I'll come back and we can brush it out together. So I just got the notification that my groceries are ready for click and collect pickup. And this is an exciting grocery delivery order because I got some ingredients to make zucchini chocolate chip muffins. The recipe does like a loaf, but I mean, in true to me style, like I'm not listening to the recipe. I'm like, I'm gonna make them as muffins and also I'm gonna make them gluten-free. Let's see what happens. So I grabbed the ingredients to do that, and yeah, so gotta go pick them up now. So here's how I finish off my hair. It's been like, I don't know what, maybe like 20 minutes. I went and had like some avocado on toast. And yeah, now we can brush this out. So this is a brush that I actually got when I had hair extensions. I don't know if you can kind of see. Oh my God, there's so much of my hair in it. Yuck. It reminds me of the Seinfeld quote where he's like, why is it that when hair is on people's heads, we like it? It's great. You want a head of hair, you kiss people on the head. Like, as soon as that hair is off your head, just made me think of that. Anyways, so I'm not sure. Like, I got this from the girl who did my extensions like probably 3 or 4 years ago, and this brush has been one of the best brushes I have ever found. But I mean, if you look at the bristles, I'm sure you could find something similar. It was like just a noise out there. I don't know what it was. I'm home alone. A little bit scary if you never see me again. Something is out there. Anyways, so I just kind of like hair tilted back and I brush to the back. Like when I'm initially brushing out my curls, and you kind of want to brush until they form like, you just want to zhuzh it until it starts to form its own little like wave, I want to say. Like, you can sort of see how they're forming like, I don't know what to call it. They're kind of coming together in a colony. I don't know what you would call it. But like, you brush out all of the curls you did until they start to form like this sort of wave kind of thing. So yeah, I just brush, and then after I brush it to the front because, I mean, the back of my head is not my business. I can't see it. So I want the front to look nice, and yeah, that's kind of how I do that. So after, then we take our hairspray again. I'm gonna do this with my mouth closed because last time I was trying to talk and I got a mouthful of hairspray and that was gross. So yeah, that is my long-lasting hair curling routine, and this will last me until like probably the next 3-4 days, and each day it just gets a little bit looser. And in the morning before I go to Pilates, I dry shampoo my hair, and then I let it sit, and then I sort of brush a little bit of it and put it up in the ponytail. And then I think, yeah, because the thing with dry shampoo is you don't want to like spray it and then brush it out straight away, because then it doesn't have a chance to do its dry shampooing for you. And so I just find like while it's in there and I'm in Pilates, it's, in my mind, it's like soaking up all this stuff, the oil or whatever, the dirt. And then when I come home or after Pilates, I just kind of let it out and like sort of zhuzh it with my fingers. And yeah, when I'm sleeping, I just try like not to sleep. Like I pull my hair forward so that it's like out on the pillow around my head, so I'm not sleeping on it with my back. But who knows what I'm doing in my sleep? I'm probably not staying like that, so who knows if that actually helps or works or does anything. But yeah, this will probably last like 3 to 4 days until I'm ready to wash it again. And then outfit for the day is this white shirt dress from Karen Millen. Just super comfortable, super easy to wear, and yeah, let's get going. Okay, well this is kind of a vibe, an iced matcha strawberry in a can. Let's see how it is. Oh my god, that is so good. Well, I couldn't help myself, and we ended up in H&M, and I saw this dress and thought it was so cute, so I'm gonna try her on. There was lots of cute bits. I think the spring stuff is starting to come in H&M, which is really exciting, but yeah, I feel like I'm ready to look for more springy pieces, and like this green dress, I'm obsessed with green. I love a shirt dress. That linen shirt is very similar to the green one I picked up, and such a vibe. There was lots of really good classic bits in H&M this time around. I'm just going on a quick zip through. This is really reminding me of a Holland Cooper linen suit that I saw, and I feel like I want to give this a try. I'm into the idea of doing like a striped linen suit, and here it is on. I'm wearing the small in the top and the bottom, and it's almost a little too oversized. Also, I don't love how you can see the pockets through the pants. That is not really a vibe, and I think the pants are just a little bit too big. They're a little bit too long. I feel like it just, yeah, the fit is not quite right. Like, it's cute. I think the vision is there, but I think the vest needs to be smaller. I think the pants need to be shorter. I don't know. Closer up, it looks a little bit better, but I just don't really love how you can see the pockets through the pants. So I will continue searching for the right linen pinstriped suit for summer, but yeah, I think this was a good try, but it wasn't quite right. Let me know what you think below. Do you think this works, or is it, I don't know, it's not really giving in my opinion. It just needs a little bit something else to be perfect. And of course I had to try on this green dress. Rumor has it, if you say sage green shirt dress 3 times on the full moon at night in a room with candles lit, I will appear. And this dress was really cute. I think it was cotton. I didn't actually check the composition. I think it's really beautiful. It felt really good on. It was really comfortable. It comes with this raffia belt, and the belt is a little bit stretchy, which we always appreciate, especially after eating lunch. I think the length is really nice. The fit was really good on it. There was a nice amount of fabric in the skirt. I do really like this color, but I do think it's just a tiny bit too light for me. But I do really like it, and I think about this dress a lot. I didn't actually end up getting it, but I do think about this dress sometimes. I like it. I just feel like I have other things in my wardrobe that I would probably end up reaching for more, but I am still thinking about it. I feel like it would be a really good just like gardening dress. Okay, well that accidentally turned into a little bit of a shopping trip well, it wasn't really a shopping trip because I didn't buy anything, but I certainly tried a few things on, because once I was in the shopping center, I was like, well, now that I'm here, I might as well just have a little quick look around to see what there is. And the spring stuff is starting to come into the stores, which makes me very excited. I'm just ready to be done with layers now. I just want to be able to put on a cute dress and leave the house and know that that's going to be enough. I don't have to plan any layers. And I'm very aware that the weather is such a subjective thing. I mean, like, a Gold Coast winter is not a real winter in comparison to other parts in the world, but, and I do love the winter here too, but you just, yeah, I think seasonally, I think the thing, I love living here. I love the weather here. I love how warm it is. Like, I actually prefer the winter and like the spring and the autumn more so than the summer, because I find like actual summer, it's a bit hot for me now. It just, like, you want to go for a walk and then you're going to be super sweaty, or the sun is just super intense, or whatever. There's no perfect place on the planet to live. I guess you either deal with really cold or rain or snow or whatever, or it's hot. So, except for maybe, I think Hawaii has pretty, like, nice, temperate weather. But aside from that, I think, yeah, like, overall the weather here is pretty good. But I do think it's like a very human thing to like crave like almost like a seasonal change. Like, you kind of get used to doing things in one season, and then after a few months you're like, I'm ready for a bit of a shift, whether that's like a shift in my wardrobe, a shift in what I'm eating, a shift in my routines. Like, I think it's really exciting for me that the sun is coming up earlier, the days are lasting longer, it's a little bit warmer but not too warm, and yeah. But then I know the exact same thing will happen again at the end of summer, where I'll be like, oh my god, I'm so tired of just being able to only wear like minimal amounts of clothing. I want to layer. Are people ever happy? Are people ever satisfied? Do we always want what we can't have? Maybe. But yeah, I mean, I left the house just wearing a dress right now, which I showed you earlier, and it was okay. Like, it was a bit chilly when I first started walking around in some of the outdoor sections, but then now it's what, 10:30, and it's definitely warmed up, and this was like more than enough clothing for being a comfortable temperature. So yeah, those summer days are coming. And I just always think it's so funny, like, being someone who is from North America and then like now living in the southern hemisphere where everything is just on the opposite, and other people are like, summer is over, we're thinking about cozy stuff, thinking about autumn stuff, and I'm like, I'm thinking about what I'm gonna wear this summer. Or yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna go to Canada over like the winter break, so I'm gonna get a little bit of like a winter, which is nice. I'm excited, like, I'm really looking forward to that, because I think Christmas for me, somewhere cold, just really feels so cozy, and like you get all the Christmas lights and it just feels more Christmassy to me. So yeah, excited for that. And I had, yeah, a little look in H&M. I had a little look in a few other shops, but I don't think I filmed those because I just wanted to zoom around and see what there was. And there was a lot of perfumes that I wanted to smell, because that's the one thing about when you look online, you can look at someone's makeup routine, you can look at how makeup looks. You don't know how a perfume is gonna smell. Like, they can describe the notes, they can describe everything about it, you never know. And there was just like some fragrances where I hear people talk about them all the time, and I just really wanted to know what they smelled like. So I went into some of the stores where they had them, just so I could have a bit of a sniff. And yeah, there was one, actually, I really like pretty much any rose scent from Penhaligon's I know is going to be one that I like. And I have I think it's called Duchess Rose from them, which I do really like. And then I was in there and there was another one where I think it's called Elizabethan Rose or something like that. And I was smelling it and I really like it too. But there's like a point in your life where you're like, how many rose perfumes does one person need? Because I have like, yeah, like Duchess Rose, which is really yummy. It's like a nice fresh rose. It's not old lady-ish at all. It's very wearable and really long lasting. Like, oh my god, if you want like a good performing rose perfume, like that is the one. But there's another one that I also have from Mancera called Roses Vanille, and that is my other top favorite rose fragrance. And I was like, well, you already have 2 rose fragrances that you absolutely love. Oh, and then I smelled another one from Erin that I think was called like Rose Grass or something like that. That was really yummy too. But yeah, it really begs the question, how many rose perfumes does one person need? Like they're all a little different, but at the end of the day, not probably different enough to warrant me purchasing another one. Because this winter I've been like obsessed with like the vanilla scents. Like I wanted to smell like a snack, and I think I have some good options in that. I found some favorites that make me really happy. And with the seasonal change, sometimes it's nice to find like a new fragrance for a new season. Or yeah, I need to think about it. I need to think about like what kind of notes do I want to explore next, because I do really like the vanilla fragrances, because I found like a few that I think are really nice. They're gourmand, they're not sickly sweet, they're not too like juvenile, like they just smell really yummy to me. And I'm kind of like, well, I feel good in that department. And those are like almost like the blue jean of your wardrobe, where you can just reach for them, they always feel good, and you always feel like, you know, you're gonna smell nice in them. So yeah, it's something I've been thinking about. What fragrance notes am I gonna explore this summer? We'll have to see. Anyways, I have yabbered on for a long time now, and so let's go home. Shoots are coming up. Oh my god, this is so exciting. I feel like I've been watching it and waiting every single day and being like, is something going to happen? So these are the basil, and we have a tiny little bit of thyme poking its head through, and then we have the beginnings of some of the tomatoes are also making themselves known. We also have some of the French radishes are coming up right now. No action from the strawberries, but that's okay. Maybe they're taking their time. And because I feel like it's important to keep it real with gardening, it doesn't always look perfect. And I think it's really easy to just show when things are working or the plants are doing well, but in the interest of trying to keep it real. So the mint plant was planted in this spot, and I just kind of felt like its water needs were completely different from everything else. Like this bed, the goal is for like it to be like a country cottage garden that thrives on neglect, essentially, because in the summer it just gets blasted with the afternoon sun. And I'll turn you around one sec. It just gets blasted with the afternoon sun, and everything else in there, I just sort of transitioned it over into being plants that do well without being watered too much, and that seems to work really well here. Like plants that are heat resistant, drought resistant, so like lavender and like gaura and thyme and what else? Erigeron, and I think it's called Euphorbia, something along those lines. I'll show you. This one right here that has like just beautiful little white petals all over it. So basically all of those do really well without a lot of water. They handle the heat well, they're quite drought resistant, and the mint was the thing that was really messing with that flow, because it would always be complaining that it wasn't getting enough water, and everything else is like, I could have a little bit less water, you're kind of drowning me. So I made the executive decision to pull it out and yeah, I did a big pruning of the Origeron because apparently I didn't know this. I was just kind of letting it run wild. But if you prune it properly, you get like these really beautiful fluffy clouds, and it kind of like mounds up more instead of like just spilling flat and going all over. And I think that looks really nice, so that is the goal. And if you are watching this and it is also spring for you because you're in the southern hemisphere, now is a really good time to give your Origeron a prune and just get it ready for the summer and the growing season, essentially. I mean, because we're in like where I am, it's the subtropics. We don't actually have like a true winter for what a lot of the plants would consider like a winter, so they just stay active all year, but they do get a little bit slower growing in our winter time, which is the opposite of the rest of the world if you are confused about what I'm talking about. So for us, we are going into spring, or it is spring by the time that you're gonna see this on my channel. And I also, the lavender has been the other thing that it just won't bloom. And I know it's still only in its second, I think this will be going into its third season, so it should be doing something now. And I was Googling, and apparently it might be, I can't remember what kind of lavender it is. Potentially it's an English lavender, and this might not be the right kind of climate for it to be blooming in. Or they gave me a few suggestions, which was like doing a fertilizer that was higher in nitrogen, which I did. You can also give your garden a feed because we're heading into spring. So now is a good time to do that, to make sure everyone has everything they need. And also I gave it like the teensiest, tiniest little prune, because that can sometimes encourage the plant to like kick itself into action. But with lavender, if you're gonna prune it, you don't want to cut into the woody part of the plant because it doesn't want to grow from there. So you want to make sure that you're kind of staying closer to the ends. So I gave it the teeniest, tiniest little prune. We'll see how it goes, and I'm hoping that we're gonna get some lavender blooms this summer. But yeah, I think now that I've transitioned the bed into all things that have much more compatible watering needs, I am like quietly hopeful that that's gonna change things for this summer. And also the gap where, I'll show you. This gap right here where the mint used to be, I am going to plant it with some more Origeron because it just does really well. Like, you can just really ignore it. It thrives on being ignored. So that's what I'm gonna put in here. And it honestly is one of my favorite flowers. Like the little just like daisies that it sort of puts out are so cute. And yeah, I think that's going to do really well here, and I'm going to prune them properly from the beginning so that hopefully we can get some beautiful like mounds of flowers instead of it just being flat and going all over everywhere. But yeah, here's what she's looking right now. She is definitely not at her biggest and best, but sometimes with gardening you gotta trim some stuff back before it gets to being as beautiful as it can be, which I always think is such an interesting metaphor for life. You have to be willing to let go of things being how they are in order to get ready for them being how they could be, I suppose. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. So I'm going to plant the little Origeron plugs that I got in here, and we'll just let her do her thing. And then, I mean, while we're doing a garden check-in, well, I guess we'll just check in with everything. So the pelargoniums are doing great in their pots. They seem to be very happy. I gave them a feed with some fertilizer at the same time that I did the big bed. And yeah, everyone is doing really good so far. They seem very happy, and I'm just excited for them to keep growing and putting out leaves, because I have like a stockpile of geranium recipes that I want to try this summer. And obviously you don't want to go hacking into your plant too much while it's still establishing itself. But yeah, I am very excited to have these be ready for harvesting, and also for them to flower too, which I don't know when that will happen, but hopefully some point in the next couple of months.
Actually, while we're on the topic, so there's like a local like homeware store that I think this girl just runs it from her house, but it's called Olive Home Interiors, and they just honestly have like the best stuff ever. Like just all your like French, English, country, cottage, European dreams, like some kind of like antiques, pre-loved things, art, like all sorts of stuff. I think the pricing is really, really good. You can actually book appointments to go and see her, which is like so on my list of things to do, but she's in Brisbane and it's just hard for me to get time to go on a trip to Brisbane. Although I was just there yesterday, but that was for a conference, and afterwards I was like, my social battery just runs out, so I was not in the mood to go shopping. But it's definitely on the list of things to do because I feel like her design aesthetic as well as mine are very similar. This little situation over here, the rose is just doing its thing, and the herbs are also just doing their thing. The nemesia, which is that little guy there, got a haircut because it was getting way too long and leggy, and that's a bit better. Yeah, so she got a haircut and now she looks a little bit scraggly, but it will be worth it. And the carrots are just still doing their thing in their pot, but no sign of carrots yet. So yeah, that was a little garden update of like where everything is going, and I'm gonna pot up the things that I got. Actually, I'm gonna show you the things that I got. This is the salvia. Right now, she's a bit immature, but she's gonna look more like this. And it's hard to capture the full effect because when it actually like gets into place and it's like tons of these all over, I think it's going to look really incredible. That was an awful description, but you'll see what I mean. And then this was, let's see what this is actually called. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. But I think they look really cute. I think they're going to do really well in one of the pots. They said they do well in pots, which is always, it's good to check. And yeah, I think they just look really cute and cheerful. I wish that they would do well inside. I don't think they will. But I picked one that like, so here's the thing, a thing that I learned when you're buying like a plant that's like this, that's going to flower, there's going to be ones at the store that look like they have tons of flowers, tons of blooms, and they're like perfect looking in the store. That's not the one you want. You want the one that is going to have lots of little like buds, because then the one in the store, the best it's going to look is when it's in the store. But this one, even though they're not all opened, all of these buds are going to open, and then it's going to look really good in your garden or in your home. And yes, of course, it will keep producing flushes of flowers, but yeah, I think it's nice to get it like right before everything is about to bloom, and then it's going to bloom in your garden. So you get to enjoy it instead of just for like the little day that you brought it home and then you're like, what happened to all the flowers? Here is our little friend Erigeron. This is just a little baby one, but I thought we could just plant up a few scattered in the gap that I showed you between the mint and the other plant that I can't pronounce, euphorbia. Yeah, so it's a good time to plant things right now. And yeah, let's get everything into situ. So do a mix of like a weak seaweed solution, and we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of organic extra just in there around the base of the plant, just to give them a little extra food. Just making another sourdough, and
I think I told you the other day I was listening to that Taylor Swift podcast where she was talking about all the different flavors of sourdough she was making, like a cinnamon swirl one and like a rainbow colored one, and it really got me thinking maybe I should be a little bit more adventurous with... I'm just going to throw a tea towel over this because it's in its auto-lease phase where it has to rest before you put the salt in. And I thought maybe I would try and do... My favorite, like, all-time sourdough is like a cheddar and jalapeno loaf. And I don't have any cheddar at the moment, but I do have some Parmesan and I do have some jalapenos. So I thought maybe I will do like a Parmesan and jalapeno loaf, and maybe I've never really seen a herb sourdough, but that doesn't mean people don't do it, right? Like, because then I thought I could maybe just toss some rosemary in there too, like a rosemary, Parmesan, jalapeno sourdough could be really good. So we are experimenting. And I also tried another new experiment. So normally when I feed my sourdough starter, I do like a 50-50 blend of like a whole wheat flour and then just a white flour, because whole wheat, because it has like the whole wheat, obviously, like it's the whole shell and everything, and there's more minerals in it. That actually is like better food for your starter. Like it kind of feeds it for longer. And I noticed it actually, because I gave it 2 feeds, yesterday morning and yesterday evening to wake it up to get ready to... I'm just going to set my timer while I'm thinking about this. So apparently I can't set my timer and talk at the same time. I noticed that the sourdough starter like really woke up. Like she rose like almost to the top of the jar. And so then I kind of started thinking, like, the last couple bakes I've done have been a little bit sluggish. I don't know, like it's just not rising as much as it has in the past. So I thought I fed the starter both times with just completely whole wheat flour, didn't mix them. And then this time I thought I would normally I do 50 grams of whole wheat flour, 450 grams of like white flour. Thought I would bump it up to do like 100 grams of whole wheat flour and 400 grams of white flour, sorry. So yeah, we are experimenting in many ways today. So the other thing I was gonna experiment with is I normally bake it in like an oval basket to get like a more oval shaped loaf, just because that's so much easier to cut. Like if you have a round loaf, like the middle slices are like huge, and then the either end you have like lots of little bitty pieces of sourdough, which I find really frustrating because I feel like a lot of it gets wasted then. But I don't know. I'm like, should I go back to doing like a circular loaf? But that's just really annoying. So it's like, is this really like an issue? It's kind of more of a cosmetic thing. Can't decide. But I thought I would sort of prep the Parmesan and the jalapenos, and then you toss them in at the first fold, and then they just kind of get folded in as you do your stretch and folds while you're doing that, while it's proofing, I think is the technical term. I've got my rosemary. This is from 3 different rosemary plants that I got this from. So I'm trying to just pull it off like that. Is that too much rosemary? No, there's no such thing. It's just a very strong flavor. You know what? No, we're just gonna go hard and we're gonna put in all the rosemary, which I'd say this is probably a good couple teaspoons. I don't know if I should chop it up a little bit so that it's more evenly dispersed, because do you want a big chunk of rosemary? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this vlog, we've really been here, there, and everywhere. Like, yesterday or the day before, I went to Emerald Lakes. I'm gonna give it a little chop, which is sort of like a little, I guess, like European inspired village kind of thing here, which is really cute because I thought it would be good to get like some outfit photos. And then like I really like the like creative process of like shooting an outfit, and like just brings me back to like fashion photography roots of like shooting on location. But like shooting by myself, sometimes I feel a little bit awkward doing it out in public. And yeah, I think for this one I'm just gonna like coarsely chop up the Parmesan, because getting some big chunks of Parmesan is gonna be yummy, I think. And I like went to like walk down the stairs of this apartment, and then this guy was coming out and he was walking his dog, and I just was like, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, who cares, you know? Like, why does it matter? You're never gonna see them again. You're not doing anything wrong. But I always think the human mind is just so funny, you know? Like, the stuff that we care about, where it's like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but you make it seem like such a big thing. Also, I'm wearing this, like, it's a pair of shorts as well. I don't know if you can see. This, like, what do we call this? A sweatsuit? From, what is going on with my hair? Oh my goodness. From Varley. And this is from like their double soft collection. And it is seriously the softest, most comfortable thing you will ever put on your body. Like, it just, it feels like you're wearing PJs, but I love it for just like, I don't know, I guess it's loungewear. I probably wouldn't do anything too active in it because, like, I don't know, where I live is pretty warm, so it's a little bit too warm to do anything like where you might get really sweaty. But for lounging or just going for a walk or something, this is honestly like the most comfortable set ever. And I feel like their stuff is so flattering, and the fabrics are just so good. So yeah, this is all the Parmesan cheese I have at the moment, and I don't know, is that too much? Is it not enough? Is there ever such a thing as too much Parmesan cheese? We're asking the really big questions today. You know what? I think I might put like half of it in, because there's a lot of things going on. We've got the rosemary, we're gonna have Parmesan cheese, and I think I will put the jalapenos in. There's like 2/3 of the jar left, I think. And I'm just gonna fish them up, and then I think I'm gonna chop them too, because I think last time I didn't chop them. It's hard to remember what I did last time. I did try doing it, but I think it might be 2 big chunks of jalapeno for like if you're having a mouthful of your breakfast, and then there's just a giant jalapeno. Decisions. So yeah, I think this is going to be really yummy though, like a Parmesan, jalapeno, rosemary, like basically all my favorite things. And then I think this feels like enough, especially if I chop it up, but then there's like this many left in the jar. What are you gonna do with them? Are they just gonna sit in there forever? Maybe. Anyways, so we're gonna give this a little chop. I think this with avocados on top of it is just gonna be so good. And the microgreens, although since I think I showed you my seedlings sprouting in the beginning of the vlog, and since like I keep going and checking them on them like every hour, and I swear they're bigger every hour. Like they're just growing and growing and growing. And then I did, in some of the seed cells, like I planted a few seeds just to make sure, like in case they didn't all germinate, like there would be backups basically. But they pretty much all germinated. And so now there is a lot of tomato plants, like a lot. And I like pulled them out like very, very, very gently. Like, it's called pricking out, which sounds kind of rude, but it's when you're like pulling the seedlings out and you gently pull them by the leaves, not by the stems, because the stems are really delicate. You want to gently pull them out, and you're trying to get the roots to come out as well. And then you can plant that into another pot, and then it can just continue growing in there. So I did that with a couple of them where it looked like they were really close together and they were going to get a bit crowded. And I lost a few, but that's okay because there's still, I think at last count, we have like 10 little tiny tomato plants, which is quite a lot. And I put some of them into pots, and I probably don't have enough pots for all of them. I actually ordered some more pots, so those are gonna come. I think I could probably fit like 2 bushes in each, like 2 plants in each, but I don't think they're ready to go outside yet. This is just, I wanted to have 1 plant in each seed cell while they're still establishing themselves so things aren't overly crowded, but I think I'm gonna be a tomato farmer, guys. There's a lot in there, and I'm like looking at them right now. That's why I keep looking over there, because every time I look at them, I swear they're bigger. So yes, I feel like it's going to be a tomato girl summer, apparently. But that's exciting because so there's 2 kind of things with tomatoes. There's determinate tomatoes and indeterminate tomatoes. Determinate tomatoes, they put out their harvest, their bushels, their whatever, their crop, and then once they've done that, then they're done. And then indeterminate tomatoes just keep putting out like more and more like fruit, I guess, as the season goes on. So all the ones I have are determinate tomatoes. So they're gonna do their crop or their yield, and then that's going to be it. And I ended up using all the seeds from the tomatoes, so I'm not going to be able to succession sow them. It's like everything we've got is the whole harvest. Although, famous last words, I was like, I'm not going to buy any more seeds. I'm good for this year. But what if we want to have tomatoes into late summer? Or, I don't know, I'm also like going away over Christmas and New Year's, and there's not going to be anyone to take care of the tomatoes. So I did think, well, maybe if you are going to plant like another sowing of them, because where I live, like, I mean, the plants usually think it's spring or summer all year round, so sometimes you can kind of get away with planting things that you're not supposed to be able to plant. Like, you could probably plant your tomatoes in winter here, and I think it might work. So that's why I'm kind of like, well, what if we just do this crop harvest, because the radishes are coming up, the carrots are starting to come up, the strawberries are still not doing anything. And so I was like, okay, well, what if you just do all of this harvest, eat it all, hypothetically, or like do things with it, like to preserve it. Like you could do like tomato sauce or pasta sauce or whatever, and then when you come back from your trip, then you can start a new harvest. So that way you're not like stressing about what's happening with your tomato plant when you're on holiday. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. So oh yeah, you can see it on there. So that's how much I've done of each of those things. I'm probably going to put half of the Parmesan in there, and then that's going to go into the bread. I'm not going to show you all the stretching and folding again because you've already seen that. If you want to go back and watch the sourdough vlog, it's a few vlogs ago. So yeah, I'm just going to continue waiting for that to do its thing, and then we will put it all together. The auto-lease? I never know how to say it. Is it auto-lease? Maybe. Stage is done. Basically, it's when you're waiting for the dough to have some time to relax before you add in the salt, because if you add in the salt too early, it makes it tough, which you don't want, and something about the gluten strands not doing what they're supposed to do. So now we're ready to do our first stretch and fold, and I have my little, it looks like a charcuterie board. A little bit of, maybe I'll eat one of these. We have our cheese, we have our jalapenos, we have our rosemary. I'm going to add a little bit of the already shredded parmesan cheese, and this is way easier if your hands are wet. your sourdough won't stick to your hands if your hands are wet, so that's why every time you go to handle the dough, you want to just get your hands wet. And stretching and folding is basically pulling up one side of it, folding it in. You stretch and then you fold. You stretch and then you fold. And I'm not overly concerned about trying to get this all incorporated just yet, because I'm going to do that many more times before this gets baked, so it'll all get incorporated in then. But yeah, to properly stretch and fold, you want to go around, basically almost imagine that your dough is a square and you're just like pulling each side up and in, and as your dough proofs, it gets a lot more stretchy and like billowy and easier to work with. Like, this is the most dense that it's ever gonna feel. So yeah, that's gonna happen again in another 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna do that for about 3 hours. I'm not gonna show you all of those because you can go back and watch that other video if you want to. I'm gonna go watch Downton Abbey while I am waiting for this to do its thing. So I think when I come back, it will be after I've baked it tomorrow morning. But for you, it will just be in a few moments. She's out of the oven, and I wish that you could smell this. And also, I don't know, can you hear that? Like the little crackling sound? No, maybe not, but like it makes this little crackling noise when you get it out of the oven. And oh my god, it just smells amazing. And also, like, look at the little bits of cheese that are escaping. I am so excited to tuck into this for breakfast.